Alrighty, so since last night I got home relatively late and I was just able to watch the replay of these games, although I did watch this one live yesterday. That's why I didn't do the review first thing in the morning or did the review after the final game was over. But that being said, if you were an MLS fan, yesterday was a great night for you because all of the MLS team was able to beat their Liga MX opponent. But that being said, we are actually going to first talk about the game that is definitely highly anticipated and is one of the most talk about game heading into the Leeds Cup knockout round, and that of course is Inter Miami versus Orlando City. So this was supposed to be the game that kicked off the knockout round, and then you realize that you know what can must happen in a Florida derby that has to make it a Florida derby. A weather delay. So this game was delayed by inclement weather. The game didn't kick off until 9:35 p.m. But that being said, because of the fact that a lot of people that is in the stadium only rooting for Inter Miami, but mostly watching for Messi, the stand was still packed. Like that was one of the few time, or if any, that I thought the stands were still packed after even a lengthy weather delay. And it makes sense because, if you spend that much money to watch Messi play and also spend that much money to watch a very highly anticipated Leeds Cup knockout stage, you don't want to leave, even with a lengthy weather delay. But by the time this game kicked off, Martinez did far one right to Galese, and I thought Miami came out of the weather the strongest team. I mean, they had most of the possession. In fact, that was an understatement because they had 81% possession compared to 19% possession in the first 5 minutes against Orlando City. And in the 7 minute, they gets the opening goal. And who else to get the opening goal, the knockout round? Then the GOAT himself, Lionel Messi. He scored here from Taylor to make it 1-0 in favor of Inter Miami. I mean, I know, again, the headlines would be on Messi, but how about Robert Taylor? I mean, I think if there is any guy that is the biggest beneficial of Messi coming to MLS, gotta be Robert Taylor. I mean, he has looked like man on a mission ever since Messi has came to this team, and there's no doubt that there. I mean, I know he is getting to that age where I don't think he's going to receive any big offer in Europe, but I'm pretty sure some might be looking at him and that, yeah, maybe he could still have a shot of potentially going back to Europe. But that being said, you got to question the defending there from Orlando City. I mean, yeah, leaving Messi wide open in the box is pretty much a death sentence, and that it was unsurprising that Orlando City found themselves 1-0 down. Now, in the 15th minute, Maguire did try to respond, but he puts it wide as that was Orlando first shot. But then Orlando's second shot, it went into the back of the net. It's Araujo scoring here to tie the game up at one apiece again. Araujo or Araujo, take your pick of how you pronounce his name. But yeah, that ties the game up at one apiece, and that was kind of a momentum changer because Maguire then hits one right to counter, and Orlando again they have the momentum. They look like they were looking to try to turn this game on its head, but Messi did had a chance from close, but he missed wide there. And then Galese had to deny Messi on the free kick in the 44th minute. I mean, when that free kick was about taken, I'm pretty sure about 90% of people think that that one's gonna go into the back of net. And great job there from Pedro Galese denying Messi there on the free kick. We then get some chippiness between both teams because, as a reminder, this is the Florida Derby, and I think this derby, especially with now Messi being there and also Joseph Martinez being an Inter Miami player, this rivalry is going to be more heated than we've seen ever before. But we do head to halftime with the game tied up at one apiece. Oh, actually, I forgot. Kamaski did have a chance to get the lead late for Miami, but he pulls it wide from close. But like I said, we do head to halftime in this Florida derby tied up at one apiece. It wouldn't stay tied for long though in the second half, as a penalty was given to Miami as Carlos brought down Martinez in the box. Now, that is definitely debatable. And Orlando City fans are very mad about this call, and I think they have right to do so because it definitely looked like it was soft in my opinion. But like I said, the league is not going to or the Leagues Cup organizer is not going to deny Miami going to move on to the next round. I mean, I said it before, they're going to get the benefit of the call. So this is one of those sequence, and in the 50th minute, I know a lot of people were expecting Messi to take this penalty. I think Tata Martino make the right choice, or at least Joseph Martinez make the right choice to take this penalty because not only the fact that he is the father of Orlando City after all, but just knowing the fact that Messi has really have a track record in terms of kicking in penalty, and then of course we always have those memes about Messi missing a big penalty in crucial moment. I think it was the right choice for Joseph Martinez to take it, and he slots it home there to make it 2-1 in favor of Inter Miami. I think that's his eighth goal against Orlando City, going back to his day with Atlanta United. I mean, he is truly the father of Orlando City. But we then get some coming together after Messi was fouled by Pereira. I mean, when you decided to deck our Golden Goose, I mean, you're gonna definitely draw a crowd from those Inter Miami players. Though I feel like Messi kind of used the dark arts a little bit. I mean, it was a bump, but he kind of act like he got completely trucked there. There was then a standing ovation as Jordi Alba made his Inter Miami debut. They of course unveiled him in the beginning of the game too, but there was not much happened since the penalty, and I think that favorite Inter Miami, they want to keep this game with not much action and not allow Orlando to get back into this game. And Orlando chances of getting back into this game was over in the 71st minute as Messi would score his second goal of the game and scored the third for Miami from Joseph Martinez to make it 3-1 in favor of Inter Miami. And then Robert Taylor looked to try to get a goal, but he was denied by Galese in the 85th minute. And then Enrique would blast it high from long range, which just kind of sums up the night that Orlando City has. And yeah, in the end, Inter Miami, and as the Leeds Cup tournament organizer are hoping for, they move on into the next round where they face against the winner of Mazatlan and FC Dallas that I'll talk about in just a bit. But the shots in this one, 12 shots for the 11 that Orlando has, 3 shots on goal for the 5 that Miami has. Both team had 5 shots off target, 2 shots that was blocked compared to the 3 that Orlando City has, and possession-wise, 68% possession compared to 32% possession that Orlando City has. And some say that this might be the toughest challenge that Miami will have in terms of their routes to go all the way deep, all the way to the final. Because when you look at where they are in the knockout round and the bracket they're in, they have a relatively easy path, and that with this win that definitely ticked off the hurdle, and we'll see whether or not if that will continue. Though I will say that in the next game it's going to be a little bit tougher, because in the next game they're actually going to be going all on the road, and this will be the first time that we see Lionel Messi and his company go on the road in any game. And the reason why that is the case is because Dallas was able to beat Mazatlan. So again, this was a game where I thought there could be an upset, knowing the fact that Dallas has had their problems in terms of scoring, and Mazatlan has looked impressive so far in this tournament. And I gotta say, while Dallas, they were the better team for most part of this game, they kind of almost threw this game away and almost blew it late. Once again, similar to what we saw in their that game they had against Charlotte FC earlier in the Leeds Cup group stage. Now, in the first half, the post would deny Velasco from long range. I mean, Velasco absolutely tattooed that one, but the post got in the way. Dallas was on the front foot. Gutierrez would rob Ferreira as the flag went up there. So even if Jesus Ferreira scored, that wouldn't have counted. Comungo then missed wide from close range, and then the first shot for Mazatlan saw Amaria pulls it wide from close range. On the other end, Ferreira had a shot that was blocked after just a WTF turnover from Mazatlan. And again, Dallas, they were well in control, but the question is, can they get the opener? Is the finishing up to that point hasn't been good for Dallas in this game. Gutierrez then denied Leggett on a point blank header from the corner, and then the first shot on goal for Mazatlan saw Intrigo hits one straight to pause, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. But just like the last game I talked about between Miami and Orlando City, did not stay scoreless for long. And just like the game between Miami and Orlando, we saw a penalty early in the second half. And in fact, this came just straight from the kickoff, as a penalty was given to Dallas after Comungo was brought down by Marola. And Velasco, of course, takes the penalty, and he slots it home. I was surprised to see Velasco takes the penalty. I thought Jesus Rivera was going to be the one that takes the penalty, but it turns out it was Velasco that takes it, and he makes no mistake. And yeah, that gave Dallas a much needed 1-0 lead. And then they look like they made it 2-0 when Obrian puts it into the back of the net. But the goal was disallowed for offside, and that allowed Mazatlan to tie the game up just 5 minutes later. As Montano, he scored from Amaria to tie the game up at one apiece. It was completely against the run of play because Dallas were well in hand in this game. Though just 5 minutes later, it looked like Obrian scores it again, but unfortunately, the flag did not agree with him again, as it was once again disallowed for offside. I mean, Hunter Obrian, he's he's been snake bitten this season. And when things are not going your way, and when you're in a goal drought, even when you put the ball in the back of the net, there's just multiple times you get no luck from the flag. Medina then fires it wide from close range before Jesus got it completely wrong in the back post. Speaking of the post, it denied Ansa from the corner, and while Dallas was pressing to get the lead back. You just wonder, is it one of those nights for Dallas again where the finishing is just not there for this team? Because besides the penalty that they scored, they have looked really bad in terms of their finishing. Though that being said, the good news for FC Dallas is that they have against a Mazatlan team that had the likes of Luis Almeria, who he was in on goal here, but in the most Luis Almeria fashion, he completely got the finishing wrong. And I mean, bro, this is why Minnesota let him go. I know I shouldn't say that. I really wish the best of what Luis Almeria does, especially during his time with Mazatlan. But yeah, that kind of finishing is what frustrates me when he was with the Loons, and that yeah, I mean, I'm kind of glad that they eventually did move on from him, and instead we get Timu Buki, hopefully get will be a great replacement. Though that being said, in the 75th minute, Dallas would get the lead, so that miss by Almeria would come back to haunt Mazatlan in a big way because Eugene Ansem would score from Ferreira to make it 2-1 in this one. That's the second goal for the youngster Eugene Ansem. He's definitely settling in for FC Dallas, doing his short time making his debut. And then Ariella was in on goal there, but he was robbed by Gutierrez in the 78th minute. But as the time winds down, I thought Dallas decided to kind of drop off, and I thought it was inexcusable. Particularly, they decided to drop off because they were still well in control of this game. There was really no need for them to drop off. And again, we saw this happen in that game against Charlotte, and it came back to bite them in big ways. So I thought, yeah, this doesn't seem like it's a great idea. Consider I don't know if they learned from their mistake against Charlotte in that first group stage game, and they were almost punished in the 88th minute if it wasn't for Martin Paz denying Montano. But he did give up a rebound, and there was Almeria, the one that has a chance to to tap it in. But again, this is Luis Almeria. He is still snake bin, even though he's wearing a different jersey, and he basically puts it right to Paz. I mean, Paz did make a great double save there, but that was just right to Paz there. And yeah, in the end, Dallas, despite the fact that they did try their best to blow it late in this game, they hold on to win 2-1 in this one. Shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 9 that Dallas had. Both teams had 5 shots on goal, 2 shots off target compared to 5 that Mazatlan has. 3 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that Dallas had, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And while this was a good win for Dallas in this one, yeah, they unfortunately has the undubious honor of facing Lionel Messi next against Inter Miami. I mean, at least they're at home in that game, which again, Miami has had their problems in terms of playing at home, and this is where there's going to be jokes about, well, Messi has been playing well, but can he do it in 105-degree heat in a Texas night against FC Dallas? And again, we'll find out whether if that is going to be the case. But again, for Dallas, they not only they have to be better in terms of their finishing against Inter Miami, well, they can't simply just hold on for dear life. I mean, they were fortunate that they were able to get away with it, but against the likes of Inter Miami and especially facing against the goat and all his teammate, yeah, it's probably not going to end up well for Dallas if they're just going to try to hold on for dear life in case if they do have a lead against Inter Miami in the next game. But that being said, moving on in the next one is Houston and Pachuca. So Pachuca unfortunately get the undubious honor of becoming a team that was one and done in the Leeds Cup. Like they basically play their first Leeds Cup game in this one, and then they basically play their last Leeds Cup game in this one after the 90 minutes. And this is also the first one that went to a PK shootout. Though early on, the first shot of the game did see Rodriguez, what was it, wide as I thought it was not much happened early in this game. The shots were only one apiece through 15 minutes. In fact, it wasn't really an entertaining game if you're a neutral. Though Tiran did fires it high from close before Clark did deny Sanchez after just bad turnover from the Dynamo like that. You can't do that if you're the Houston Dynamo when you face this Pachuca side. Di Guerrero then fires it high from 5 yards out. I mean, that's one that he wants to have that back because that's an absolute sitter. And Pachuca was pressing for the opener, and I thought the Dynamo again, their defense looked very shaky. Probably very fortunate that this game was still at 0-0. Di Guerrero then pulls it wide from the header. There was a huge shout for a penalty as Carrasquilla thought that he was brought down in the box. I think in the end they got it right because you can see I don't think there was really any contact in terms of that. So yeah, because of it and because Karaskia kind of went down on the ground too easily, I think that's why the referee didn't gave it. Though they did check VAR to see whether that is the case, and indeed it was. And then Bear was in on goal here in the 42nd minute, but he was denied by Moreno. And I thought the Dynamo again they started to get back into this game. It was kind of a slow start from Houston in this one, but they got back into this game and they were looking for the opener. But we do head to halftime, scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Clark would tip Turan shot over the bar before Bassi would fires it wide from close. Herrera then just missed hide on the free kick as I thought the Dynamo was pushing for the opener again. But really, as the time winds down, I thought Pachuca was actually the one that was pushing for the winning goal, and the Dynamo it looked like they were just going to settle to try to take their chances in a PK shootout. Figueroa then puts it just high from close range, but we do head to the end of regulation, and for the first time in this Leagues Cup tournament, go to a PK shootout. And in the PK shootout, it's Caicedo that slots the winning penalty for the Dynamo to move on after Clark denied Figueroa on the previous PK attempt. And yeah, in the end, the Dynamo they move on. For Pachuca, one and done in his tournament. And as I said before, Pachuca they're not as good as what we seen them winning the Liga MX title a couple of years ago. A lot that has to do with the fact that they sold a lot of their good players during these last two seasons. But nevertheless, very impressive win for the Houston Dynamo to move on to the next round. And the shots in this one, 15 shots cleared 13 that Pachuca has. Both team had 2 shots on goal, 9 shots off target for the 7 that Pachuca has. Both team had 4 shots that was blocked, and possession wise, 50% for both of these teams. With that being said, moving on into the final game on this board, and wow, this was unexpected. I mean, I said back in my prediction that I thought that this was potentially could be an upset because I thought FC Juarez has played well so far in this Leagues Cup group stage, and they're kind of flying under the radar. And I was kind of worried the fact that LAFC they haven't played in over 2.5 weeks, whether or not if that rust is going to come back to bite them, and well, not just come back to bite them, but whether that rust is going to cause some problem of them unable to get enough quality to move on to the next round. Well, they probably heard what I said in my prediction video because they took it personally in this one, especially in the second half where my oh my, this got ugly really quickly in the second half. Now, in the first half, Bawanga had a shot that was blocked away from close, though, as expected, I thought it was a slow start for LAFC. It also was a slow start in this game. Not much really happened in this one, but, for LAFC specifically, when you haven't played in 17 days, it's tough for them to try and to get the rust off. But I think what's important for LAFC is that they didn't concede an early goal, because if they concede an early goal, they find themselves behind the 8 ball, and with them not having that match sharpness, just could be a problem for LAFC. Though Pascal did deny Bawanga from close range, and then in the 31st minute, LAFC strike first. It's Ryan Hollinshead. He scored from Acosta to make it 1-0 in favor of LAFC, and it did not take long for them to make it 2-0. As in the 33rd minute, Carlos Vela would score here to make it 2-0. And yeah, this was a gift for LAFC because it was a comical little errors from both the Juarez keeper and defender. I mean, Pascal didn't really do a good job in terms of punching that one away, and then the defender just tried to clear it with his header, but just cleared it right to Carlos Vela. And when you click right to Carlos Vela, Vela basically said, "Thank you very much. I'm just gonna dink it into the goalkeeper that was way out of his position when he was trying to punch that one away." And yeah, LAFC was leading 2-0, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. Now, in the second half, again, notice I didn't really wrote a lot of notes because this is when things really got ugly for FC Juarez. Though, that being said, there was hope for Juarez in the 47th minute when Escoto would score here to get one back for FC Juarez. It was not great set piece defending there from LAFC. They didn't clear their lines from the corner. And again, you thought that maybe FC Juarez has a nope. In the 52nd minute, Bawanga would score his second goal of the game to make it 3-1. Zapata did look to respawn for Juarez, but he was denied by McCarthy, and that only allowed Vela to score another one in this one. As in the 61st minute, it would be 4-1 in favor of LAFC, as Vela would score from Ilie. That was vintage Carlos Vela stuff here. We know that he's deadly with his left foot, and that was just a beautiful curling strike to put it into the back of the net. It was 4-1 up to that point, and then 5 minutes later, it would be 5-1 in favor of LAFC as Bawanga would score his second goal for Carlos Vela, though originally the goal was disallowed for offside. They did look at it, and on the replay, it was pretty clear that Bawanga was even on the line. So, yeah, the goal was overruled. It was five, or the goal that was disallowed was overruled. So it was now 5-1 in favor of LAFC. And while the route was definitely on in this one, there's got to be some concern if you're an LAFC fan seeing Carlos Vela came off with a hamstring injury. Again, Carlos Vela has had a lot of injury issue in the past couple of seasons, and this just is another one of his setbacks. And again, a reason why there's even talk that he may even start thinking about considering retirement, because when you suffer so many injury now that you're into your 30s, I wouldn't be surprised there are some players, especially Carlos Vela, might be even thinking about that his body just can't take it anymore. Though that being said, despite the bad news, LAFC weren't done with their finishing and their goal scoring, as they were gifted a penalty in the 77th minute after Rodriguez brought down Palacio in the box, and that just allowed Bawanga to score his hat trick from the penalty spot. So yeah, it was 6-1 up to that point, and then Ordaz would score his first career goal for LAFC as he scored from Bawanga to make it 7-1 in this game. So yeah, Brazilian fans and FC Juarez fans, look away because it's that infamous score that is on the score line again. But yeah, in the end, it was a 7-1 route that LAFC had against FC Juarez. And the shots in this game, it was actually relatively even. 20 shots committed, 19 that FC Juarez has. And again, I didn't really take too much notes because I knew this game was relatively over. And keep in mind, when I woke up this morning, I was watching and this game all at the same time. And with this game being so out of hand, that I thought, yeah, there's really no point really keeping an eye on this game anymore. But yeah, as I said, 20 shots committed, 19 that FC Juarez had, 10 shots on goal committed, 5 that FC Juarez had, 7 shots off target compared to 2 that LAFC had, and 8 shots as blocked compared to 7 that FC Juarez had. And possession-wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession that LAFC has in this game. And again, LAFC, this is kind of maybe a statement that they have made. Now, I get it; it is FC Juarez, and I think the other thing that I will say coming out of tonight or coming out of yesterday from Liga MX fan is that, well, most of the teams that play in the first night was just kind of mid-tier or lower tier Liga MX team, and I do agree in some sense that both Mazatlan and FC Juarez aren't really world beaters, and Pachuca has kind of suffered a bit of a decline ever since they won the title. But that being said, it is still good news to see MLS team able to move on to the next round, and now also kind of put a lot more pressure now on these top tier Liga MX teams, because as I mentioned before, so far in this tournament, from what I've seen, these lower tier and mid tier Liga MX team, they have no match when they play against some of the best team in MLS. But when it comes to these top tier teams, some teams like Rayados, and Tigres, and even Club America at some point, MLS team just can't handle them. So it's gonna be interesting to see when we do get to a point where these top tier Liga MX team, I think some of these teams are gonna go deep in this tournament, and I do believe that when we get to the semi-final or even get to the final, there's got to be at least one Liga MX team representing the league. I mean, I know that I know the disadvantage, of course, for them is that road travel, and I think that's kind of another big discussion we'll talk about at the end of this tournament, of the fact that if they are going to bring it back next year, will they maybe consider some games down in Mexico? Because again, this tournament has really been kind of unfair to Liga MX team, with them playing so many off games in the U.S. and in Canada. And while I know some of these games for these Liga MX team doesn't feel like a road game, because especially when Club America plays, I mean, they get all the fans in the stands supporting them, but still you're playing in an unfamiliar territory, and and also kind of away from home for so long that it started to become a bit of a mental toll on you too. So yeah, overall, again, we'll see how this rest of the knockout round is going to be. And again, tonight we're gonna have 6 more games that is going to be happening, and some will feature MLS versus Liga MX matchup. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.